welcome to Suffolk Public Library's Suffolk Handicrafts April Showers Tea Towel Embroidery Project. I am your learning programming coordinator, Lisa Gooding, and we're gonna take some time today and do some stitching. So let's get started. The kits we provided come with your cloth that I have already prepared with some interfacing to stabilize the fabric, and I put on this pattern so that you have a visual while you're stitching, and when you're done that can wash right off very easily. So you just have that on yours so that you can visually see where you're making your stitches. And you have a needle. Everyone was provided with one needle and black embroidery floss, a shade of blue, a yellow or pink or peach, some contrasting color, and then a silver. And everyone got a hoop to put your project in for working on it. The stitches that you're going to be using are a back stitch, a running stitch, and a satin stitch. So I'm going to show you some stitches here and how to sort of work with your project. First, we'll slip the inner hoop underneath your picture, and then push your outer hoop down around it. Oh, got a little tight here. So let's loosen this. That'll help. So we slide that down. It gets our fabric nice and tight for working. Tighten that. And then when we're using the floss, each piece of floss you're going to trim to a working length, and there are 6 strands in each, and you want to pull out 2 and work with just 2 at a time. So you separate it gently. And you kind of got to be careful because it can knot up while you're separating it because it twists and things. And then you work with 2 strands at a time. So let's start with our outline that I'm going to do in black. I have it threaded here, 2 strands. And on your pattern, the outline we're going to do will be around the outside of the umbrella and the umbrella handle. To do the outline, we're going to use the back stitch. The back stitch gives you a nice closed look so that it's a line. And you're going to start at the back of your fabric with your needle. And I don't put any knots in the string. Just pull the string most of the way through. Make sure you don't pull it all the way through because then you'll have to start all over again. And then you're on the top. So now you're going to be holding your fabric with the string underneath, and you'll go down, through, and then you're going to come back up sort of in front of where you went down. See, my stitches aren't always even. They aren't perfect. I'm still pretty new to this. So I've come up, and then I'm going to go back to where I went down on the first stitch. and that gives me an unbroken line. So you come forward on your fabric, and you go back to where your last stitch had gone in, or come out. And that gives you a solid outline in your black. You do that all around the outline of the umbrella. And later on, we're going to fill in our umbrella with some contrasting colors. You can make this your own. You know, this will be a project that really has your own signature to it. When you're done with a thread, you're just going to weave through the back of your stitches so there's no knots involved. And then trim off the end of your string so that there's not a whole bunch of strings left loose there. Okay, so we've taken care of our back stitch for the outline. Next, let's do our yellow or pink satin stitch on our umbrella. So I'm going to thread this needle. I'm using a little cheater. Get this thread in there. And you can pick up these needle threaders at Walmart or Joann's or a fabric store or craft store. It helps me because I have trouble getting the thread into those little eyes. So we're going to go to the back again and pull our thread through. And the satin stitch gives you sort of that colored in look. So I'm going to pull the thread through, hold some on the back. And since your fabric has the picture printed on it, you can kind of see more. The black or dark color here is what you're going to want to do in your contrasting color, in your pink or your yellow or peach. And you can see it pretty clearly on that printed pattern. So we'll just go back and forth to give it a pop of color on a rainy day. We don't want any rain or clouds to take away the brightness of our April. So I'm giving some nice, colorful, long stitches. And then we'll also hide what's left of our thread sort of underneath the stitches and then trim off the excess again. And we'll switch to our blue thread. I already have 2 strands of the blue threaded. We're going to do a running stitch for our raindrops. So each raindrop we'll do sort of a running stitch so that it's kind of dotted. And and then a thicker raindrop that we will accent then with the silver. We're going to use the silver to accent the umbrella where maybe sun is coming through the clouds and where maybe light is shining through our raindrops. So the running stitch is going to be a less precise. You can be as perfectionist as you want to be. Remember, I'm still kind of new to this. So my stitches get uneven, but I still think it's beautiful. And I've made something that I can put out and say, I made that. I made that in April of 2022. And I knew that the rain in April was going to bring something beautiful, even if it was just my handicrafts. So we're just running along here. It's a dotted line of a running stitch. And when I get to the raindrop, I'm going to make a little satin stitching, and then the accents in silver in a satin stitch to give us the shape and let us feel like the light is shining through those drops. My thread got a little bit thick. Didn't pull it all the way through. Make a pretty little drop here. Now, your fabric should be pretty easy to work with because it has that interfacing to sort of stabilize it. That helps a lot. Being able to see the picture on the fabric doesn't hurt either. There's a little raindrop. It ran down with the rain running, and then I did a little stitch there. Now I'll run this back up through and trim it off. My back is getting pretty messy. Some people don't like that. I'll fix that later, maybe. Maybe. You do you. So that's the blue. And the last color that we haven't worked with yet is the silver. And that's going to give us our accents on the umbrella here. And you'll be able to just sort of stitch some lines where if the sun is out and there's a rainbow shining through our rain, or maybe a street light shining off of your umbrella. Who knows? I don't know where you're standing in the rain with an umbrella. We'll do some accents with the silver. I've got 2 strands. That'll give us a nice 4-color project. There we go. Nah. a little bit of running stitch up on this umbrella in the silver. That gives you those dotted lines. Now you've filled in your umbrella already with all the yellow. You won't have sort of the whiteness that I have here. Also, you'll be able to see in your picture. You can just kind of make a little line up and down, keep moving. And see, you'll have several lines around your umbrella to accent off your contrasting color. And then little spots where the light glistens through your raindrops too. So we're going to do a little satin stitch on this raindrop. I think the light's coming from that way, so it'll shine on this side of the raindrop. When you're done, you're gonna hide all of that thread. You want to weave it and make sure that there aren't lots of ends, so that the back is nice and tidy. And then when your picture is complete, you can kind of gently wash it with cool water, and this will wash right out of the fabric. It dissolves with a little bit of water, and then you can dry it out. And you can set out your April Showers embroidered tea towel to decorate for anyone who visits you to see.